Welcome back, viewers. You're watching WION World is One. This is a special edition of WION's Speed News with our signer, Miss Rajni. I'm Shivan Chandna. Let's get started. Palestinian Health Ministry says at least 70 Palestinians were killed in an Israeli airstrike on a refugee camp in central Gaza. A spokesperson of the Health Ministry says that the death toll is likely to rise as the airstrike on Sunday hit a crowded residential area. The spokesperson added that Israeli forces are bombing central region's main roads between camps, which obstruct ambulances and civil vehicles from reaching targeted locations. The development comes after residents and Palestinian media said that Israel bombed areas of Jabalia in northern Gaza Strip overnight. 10 people reportedly were killed in the attack. Wounded children and adults were rushed to hospitals in Khan Yunis as Israel's bombardment intensifies. Israel has been under intensifying pressure in recent weeks from its closest ally, the United States, to scale down its military campaign and reduce civilian casualties. The Israeli military has expressed regret for civilian deaths but blames Hamas for operating in densely populated areas or using civilians as human shields, an allegation the militant group denies. The Israeli army has released a video showing an operation to dismantle Hamas' northern underground headquarters in Gaza. The video showed a section of tunnel lined with white tiles as well as a similarly designed bathroom. This comes as Hamas said that it has lost contact with the group responsible for 5 Israeli hostages being held captive in the Gaza Strip. The group believes the hostages were killed during an Israeli raid. The Israeli military says that they have recovered the bodies of the 5 hostages killed in Hamas captivity. Footage posted by the IDF on social media shows Israeli troops paying their respects to the hostages. As the world rejoices in the Christmas spirit, the city known as the birthplace of Jesus Christ is grim. Bethlehem has cancelled Christmas amid the war. Bethlehem is renowned as the place where Christianity was born. Jesus Christ was born in a stable in the Palestinian city, which is now a part of the West Bank. The city finds itself in sorrow and candle-lit hymns. In place of the usual nativity scene, Bethlehem's churches placed the figurines representing the Holy Family amid rubble and barbed wire. The war that started on October 7th has now claimed more than 20,000 lives in Gaza. Pope Francis also remarked on the volatility of the war. For the first time in over a century, Ukrainians are celebrating Christmas on 25th December, after the government changed the official date from January 7th. On Sunday, hundreds of locals in the city of Lviv were seen joining celebrations and bringing out the didok, which is a traditional Christmas decoration that is made of wheat. The didok symbolizes sacrifice in the port city of Odessa. Preparations and festivities to usher in Christmas are in full swing. Several Ukrainian Orthodox Christians flocked to the Cathedral of Nativity, lighting candles as part of the Christmas Eve service. In July, Ukraine passed a law officially moving Christmas celebrations to December 25th, as is followed by most Christians around the world. The law was signed by Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky in a move which is considered as a snub to Russia. Russian bombardment killed at least 4 people and injured more than 5 over 24 hours in the frontline southern Ukrainian city of Kherson. On the other hand, Russian installed officials in the eastern town of Horlivka said that Kiev's shelling killed 1 person. For the first time, Ukraine is celebrating Christmas on 25th of December. Russian forces fired 71 shells at Kherson from Saturday to Sunday morning. The regional governor said Russians hit the city center, residential areas, medical and educational institutions, and critical infrastructure facilities as well. Zelensky condemned what he called brutal terrorist shelling, deliberately targeting life-sustaining civilian infrastructure and ordinary streets. As Russia gears up for its upcoming 2024 presidential elections, the Russian Communist Party, which is the country's second largest party, has decided to nominate Nikolai Kharitonov. He will run against President Vladimir Putin. Kharitonov is no stranger to presidential elections. This is not the first time that the veteran Russian leader is contesting against Putin. In race to the Kremlin, he ran against Putin in 2004 and managed to garner only 13.7% votes, while Putin recorded a landslide victory with over 71.3% votes. Kharitonov's candidacy has been supported by an overwhelming majority of party members in a secret ballot. The decision was taken hours after Russia's Central Election Commission barred independent candidate Duntsova from contesting the election. In a definitive stance, Spain has declared that it will not be joining the US-led coalition aimed at safeguarding Red Sea shipping routes from attacks by Yemen's Houthi rebels. The Iran-backed Houthis have orchestrated multiple strikes on Red Sea shipping, prompting Spain's decision to abstain from the coalition. Just last week, the Pentagon had said that 10 countries had joined the Washington-led coalition to protect the key shipping lane. Spain's government has been uncertain about this, and later it announced that it will not participate. The announcement comes amid rising tensions in the Red Sea. Yemen's Houthi rebels carried out a barrage of targeted attacks on what the group referred to as the Israel-affiliated ships. Officials say that the Indians stranded at a French airport near Paris are expected to leave today, but there are no details about their next destination. Last week, there were reports of a plane carrying 303 Indian passengers who were detained in France due to suspicions of human trafficking. After interrogating the passengers for 2 days, French prosecutors on Sunday gave the go-ahead to the plane. Full approval for its departure is expected to come today. The airport functioned as a makeshift courtroom for these interrogations. This unfolding situation centers around a flight that departed from Dubai and was destined for Nicaragua. The plane was detained at an airport in Marne on Thursday. As per French media reports, hearings before a judge of freedoms and detention are set to commence. The Iranian Navy displayed its new cruise missiles to the media as the US accused Iran of drone attack on a chemical tanker in the Indian Ocean. Reconnaissance helicopters, drones and marine cruise missiles with a range of 1,000 kilometers were among the new weapons added to the Navy's arsenal. According to the head of Iran's Navy, the US Department of Defense has said that a drone sent from Iran struck a Liberian flagged chemical tanker in the Indian Ocean. An incident highlighting rising regional tensions and a new risk to shipping lanes. However, Iran has denied US accusations that it was involved in planning attacks by Yemen's Houthi movement. Former US President Donald Trump has urged a federal appeals court to throw out the federal election subversion criminal case in Washington, D.C. He argues that he is protected under presidential immunity. This comes a day after the Supreme Court declined special counsel Jack Smith's request to take up Trump's argument that his actions are protected from criminal prosecution under presidential immunity. As per US media reports, the filing reiterates what the former president's lawyers have repeatedly asserted, and that is, Trump was working in his official capacity as president to ensure election integrity when he allegedly undermined the 2020 election results and therefore has immunity. Peruvian police carried out a drug bust operation with the special help of Santa Claus near its capital city, Lima. Video released by Peruvian National Police shows an officer from the Urban Intelligence Tactical Division dressed as Santa Claus breaking down a door with a sledgehammer and helping to detain a suspect. Police said that the place where the drugs were being sold was hard to access, so the Santa disguise was used to get close to the scene without alerting locals to the police action. 2 men have been arrested for selling the drugs. Serbian opposition demonstrators broke windows as they tried to storm Belgrade City Hall during protests over alleged election fraud. Demonstrators used flagpoles, rocks, and eggs to break the windows of the capital's administrative building and tried to break in, but were quickly pushed back by the police. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić said 2 police officers were severely injured and more sustained light injuries, while over 35 bullies were arrested. Vučić described the incident as an attempt to force takeover of state institutions. Serbia held parliamentary and local elections on 17th of December, in which President Aleksandar Vučić's party said it had secured a commanding victory. But international observers reported irregularities, including vote buying and ballot box stuffing. Russia has accused Western countries of stirring up tensions in Serbia. The Moscow-friendly Balkan nation has been rocked by protests over alleged fraud in elections held on 17th of December. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said, and I quote here, "The attempts of the collective West to destabilize the situation in the country are obvious." The Kremlin had welcomed election results, saying Moscow hoped the result would lead to further strengthening of friendship between the two countries. Serbia and Russia have historically close ties, and Belgrade did not join international sanctions against Moscow for its Ukraine offensive. But Serbia has condemned Russia's aggression at the UN, and its support has caused controversy. Serbia is almost entirely dependent on Russian gas. Its opposition complained of foul play during the parliamentary elections. A sprawling caravan of migrants from Central America, Venezuela, Cuba, and other countries trekked through Mexico on Sunday. Heading towards the US border, the procession just came days before Anthony Blinken arrives in Mexico City to hammer out new agreements to control the surge of militants. Well, the surge of migrants seeking entry into US, the caravan estimated at around 6,000 people, many of them families with young children, is the largest in more than a year. It is a clear indication that joint efforts by the Biden administration and President Manuel Lopez Obrador's government to deter migration are falling short. China has successfully sent 4 meteorological satellites into space. The satellites were launched from the launch center in northwest China. The satellites belong to the Tianmu-1 meteorological constellation. They were launched at 9 a.m. Beijing time and have entered the planned orbit already. They will be mainly used to provide commercial meteorological data services. The threat of wild weather wasn't enough to turn away crowds celebrating Christmas at Australia's iconic Bondi Beach. Australia's weather agency has warned of extreme to severe heatwave conditions over northern parts of the country through Sunday. The weather forecast has warned that temperatures in some regions could hit around 45 degrees Celsius. And on the other hand, the capital of Western Australia can see a maximum temperature of 35 degrees Celsius, more than 5 degrees above the December temperature. Experts say the El Nino weather pattern is helping fuel the extreme heat as climate change is making heat waves more frequent and intense. The first ice fishing event in North China's Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region was held on Sunday on the banks of the Erguna River, which forms part of the border between China and Russia. Ice fishing enthusiasts from China and Russia set up tents, drilled holes through the thick ice, and lowered nets into the frosty waters to take fish from the river. Tourists from both countries enjoyed the fresh fish stewed in the large iron pot outdoors and took horse sledge and snowmobiles to enjoy the snow scenery. Hundreds of surfing Santas and a few elves took to Florida's Cocoa Beach for the annual Surfing Santa Day. The event, now in its 15th year, draws hundreds of surfers and onlookers. Organizers say the event began as a simple family beach day, but now it has grown into a beloved tradition for both locals and visitors. Participants and spectators enjoyed live music, a costume contest and watched the surfing Santas ride the waves. Governor of the Bank of Japan said the likelihood of achieving the central bank's inflation target was gradually rising and that it would consider changing policy if prospects of sustainably achieving the 2% target increase sufficiently. Ueda said the Bank of Japan had not decided on a specific timing to change the loosest monetary stance of any major central bank due to uncertainties over economic and market developments. With inflation exceeding the target for well over a year, many market players expect the central bank to boost short-term interest rates out of negative territory next year, with some betting on higher rates as early as January. British billionaire Jim Ratcliffe has completed a deal to buy 25% stake in Manchester United for about $1.3 billion. This brings an end to the protracted 13-month ownership saga at Old Trafford. 71-year-old Ratcliffe, alongside Ineos sporting director Dave Brailsford, will reportedly take control of footballing matters in the club. Although the Gaza family will retain their majority control over the Red Devils, the only other publicly declared bidder, Qatari banker Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani. He withdrew his offer to buy 100% of the club in October,